Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Caps Hockey Review back with you to discuss a little bit more free agency. Probably the last of the free agency we will discuss this summer. First things first, Ilya Samsonov just this afternoon gets his new deal done. Team-friendly deal, 1 year, $2 million. Definitely bridge deal, which is what we expected. That's what Brian McClellan kind of said they were hoping to get done. That's what they were looking toward. So it's a deal that says to me, and I think says to Samsonov as well, you are our guy, we think. We're not sure. We're hoping you're going to show us here. In other words, we're not ready to pay you starter money. We're not ready to pay you what we paid Holtby. We're certainly not ready to kick you, Andrei Vasilevsky money. But re-upping, giving him a chance on a 1-year deal to really, really prove himself. And this is Samsonov betting on himself. Don't make any mistake about this. By accepting a 1-year deal at $2 million, he's saying, okay, I will take less this year, but I'm going to go out and I'm going to prove to you that I am your guy and I can be an elite goalie at the NHL level. I hope that happens. I hope he does just that. However, we're still not sure. He's shown flashes, he's shown signs, but inconsistencies, issues off the ice. I think this was a great job by the Capitals. You're not paying a ton of money. You're not married to the contract long term. I like the term of the deal for right now. Come next summer, if let's say he goes out this season and crushes it and proves to Caps management and proves to all of us as fans that you are the guy. You're everything we thought you are. You're what we think you're supposed to be. That's great. I hope it happens. But if that does happen, if and when, he's gonna have to be compensated for that, only being on this 1-year deal. We saw Igor Shesterkin from the Rangers just get paid a little north of $5 million per season. It is the most an NHL goalie has ever made per season on their second contract. Now, he looks to be further along in his development than Samsonov. I am not necessarily saying that he is a comparable. But if Samsonov goes out this year and crushes it, I'm guessing this is the kind of money he's going to be looking for. I've talked about it before with younger guys and these RFAs. All of a sudden, the balance of power has seemed to shift. It used to be RFAs, you don't really have too much leverage in negotiations, and that whole narrative kind of shifted with William Nylander and Mitch Marner with the Leafs really threatening to hold out. All the rest of these RFAs following suit have found that they really do have some leverage, and they do have a lot of control in these situations, because at 22 years old, it's like, all right, I'll sit out for a year and I'll go re-sign wherever I want if you won't give me, the money I want. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. Like, a holdout situation would suck. But that's down the road. We're not worried about down the road just yet. I like the deal for right now. Like I said, I think it's an absolutely manageable dollar figure. It's not marrying yourself to the contract for a long term. If the off-ice stuff continues, if he can't seem to find his way, you're not, married to him for 3-4 years. More news to discuss goalie-wise. When I was last with you, I mentioned how the goalie picture for the Caps, who's going to play, who's going to be Samsonov's number 2, the picture was not very clear. The water was very murky. Well, we got our answer about a week or two ago. Vitek Vanecek is back with the Capitals after a cup of coffee over there in Seattle with the Kraken. He was there for a good time, not a long time, if you will. Caps reacquire Vanecek in a trade in exchange for a second-round pick. I like the deal. I was very, very disappointed they lost Vanecek in the expansion draft, and I'm very excited they got him back. As far as promise and as far as what they can bring right now, I think him and Samsonov are neck and neck. So this is a good chance to kind of see that goalie battle through and see who's going to come out on top. I think it'll be Samsonov. I think that's the way most people are leaning. I think that's the way the Caps are leaning. But competition is competition. It will ultimately be decided between the two of them on the ice. Now, goalie picture, same as it was last year. What will not be the same as last year is defense, defensively, all that good stuff. Zdeno Chara is not a no yet, but he is certainly not a yes at this point. If I had to guess, I would say it's more of a no. He's still on the fence about whether or not he's going to play at all. He is a UFA. He could sign anywhere he wants. He could go to Tampa Bay, for all we know. They seem to be loading up on all these veteran guys lately. He could go back to Boston. I don't think it's very likely, but we could see it. Given the way the Caps playoff run went last year and how it ended, I don't think he's too interested in coming back. I could be wrong, but I think a first-round exit was absolutely not what he had in mind when he signed in DC. So I'll be curious to see. I don't think he's going to be back, and I'm kind of proceeding here with the notion and the assumption that he will not. Also, Brendan Dillon, as I discussed in the previous video, traded to Winnipeg for 2 second-round picks. Pretty good return. Now, one of those picks went to Seattle in the deal to reacquire Vitek Vanecek. You got to break some eggs to make an omelet. And in this case, your omelet was your goalie tandem. So, I like the deal. I like Brendan Dillon as a player. But being the cap hit, being the situation what it is, somebody had to go. Some salary had to go. And unfortunately, that's just the reality of modern sports. Roster turnover is a given. Now this leaves the question. 2 regulars from last season on that left side are Brendan Dillon's out for sure. Chara presumably not going to be back. So there's 2 holes here. Now, Trevor Van Riemsdyk, being protected in the expansion draft, says to me that he figures into the plans this season. He will be a regular fixture on the blue line for the Capitals this season. So that still leaves us with a spot open. So what do the Caps do? I would like to see them go the minor league route. You got some kids in the system. Martin Feravari, Alex Alexiev certainly look like they are ready for a bigger role and looking to jump to the NHL level. I would like to see one of these 2 get into the lineup on a regular basis, or even if they split time. I would like to see them do it with one of these 2 guys. Now, why might I feel that they're not going to do that? Well, they went out and signed a few more defensemen. Went out and got Dylan McElrath, mostly a career minor leaguer. His most significant NHL season was with the Rangers 2015-16, 34 games. That's the most NHL experience he's had in one season, and really not very much since then. So I don't think he's figuring into the NHL squad this year. The other signing, Matt Irwin. A little bit older, former Predator, under Peter Laviolette when Laviolette was in Nashville. I get the signing. I get it. McClellan wants to go after some Laviolette guys, someone that was there in Nashville for the winning days. Fine. But this guy's 33. He's never been known for the quickness of his feet, and it's definitely not going to get quicker. I hope he is not the solution for Zdeno Chara, if in fact he does not resign. I would not, even with Chara at 43, 44 years old, I would not put Irwin on Chara's level at this point. Now, unfortunately, I think this is probably what's going to end up happening. Irwin is probably going to slot in that third lefty spot. I'm not a fan of it. If it does happen, I'm going to say that right now. Like I said, I would much rather see Farivari or Alexeyev slot in. The league's getting younger. The league's getting faster. Those are qualities that are coming to define these dominant teams. And if the Caps are going to resume their dominance and reclaim their dominance, they need to get younger. Signing a 33-year-old defenseman and sticking him in your regular top 6 defenseman does not move you in that direction. So I hope Irwin is there for depth, maybe to bolster the Hershey Bears if in fact they do lose a Martin Farivari or an Alex Alexeyev to the Capitals this season. I'm going to say this very, very honestly. This team has come to be defined by the moves they make, and every team is, but this team seems to sign guys at the wrong times and make trades at the wrong times for these older defensemen. We saw the Mike Weber trade all those years ago when they got eliminated by the Penguins. We've seen them trade for players like Martin Erat. Wasn't a defenseman, but they lost Philip Forsberg for that deal. Was half a year of Martin Erat worth losing Philip Forsberg? No. I don't think it is worth stunting the growth and the development of 2 young defensive prospects just to have an older defenseman back there. I mean, keep in mind, John Carlson is in his 30s. Dmitry Orlov is in his late 20s. Justin Schultz is in his early 30s. This blue line is not hurting for experience and veteran leadership. I think if anything at this point, getting younger is the way to go. Van Riemsdyk is a little bit younger. If you bring in a Farivari and Alexeyev, you're getting younger. I mean, that's the whole point. You bring in young guys, they learn from the older guys, and they take a bigger role. That's how this works. I don't think at this point the Caps are going to benefit from a 33-year-old blue liner slotting in where you could slot in a 22-year-old. So, we'll see what happens. I'm really curious to see what happens. I'm really curious to see how all this plays out. Those questions will be answered more through training camp in September. I'll be with you through that. Until then, enjoy the rest of your summer. Let's get ready for this season. Go Caps.